incredible find in the middle of the ocean. A gigantic swell of trash floating in the Pacific Ocean seems to be teeming with life. Scientists are finding that dozens of coastal creatures, including tiny crabs, have been able to survive and reproduce on plastic debris thousands of kilometers from their original home.
Hey, time for another Rick Take. We're gonna be talking about the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Let's jump into it. All right. So the Great Pacific Garbage Patch is now so huge and permanent that a coastal ecosystem is thriving on it, scientists say. Interesting. Scientists have found thriving communities of coastal creatures, including tiny crabs and anemones, living thousands of miles from their original home on plastic debris in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, a 620,000 square mile swirl of trash in the ocean between California and Hawaii. Just so I can get this out there, do you realize how big 620,000 square miles is? Just for record, one of the largest counties in the United States is Maricopa County, and that's only 9,224 square miles. So just think about how much bigger this pile of bullshit and trash is. It's insane. Anyways, in a new study published in the Nature, Ecology, and Evolution journal on Monday, a team of researchers revealed that dozens of species of coastal invertebrate organisms have been able to survive and reproduce on plastic garbage that's been floating in the ocean for years. The scientists said that the findings suggest plastic pollution in the ocean might be enabling the creation of new floating ecosystems of species that are not normally able to survive in the open ocean. Unlike organic material that decomposes and sinks within months or, at most, a few years, plastic debris can float in the ocean for a much longer time, giving creatures the opportunity to survive and reproduce in the open ocean for years. Here's my Rick Take number one. So essentially, this ocean life has a giant waterbed where it can go to fuck. Just think about all the crabs and all the weird fucking species of ocean life are just like, yeah, this is like equivalent to I'm giving them a human personality, but like this is like Woodstock, baby. Let's jam out and fuck. Anyways, it was surprising to see how frequent the coastal species were. They were on 70% of the debris that we found. Lindsay Harum, a science fellow at the National Institute of Food and Agriculture and the study's lead author, told CNN. Harum and her colleagues examined 105 items of plastic fished out of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch between November 2018 and January 2019. They identified 484 marine invertebrate organisms on the debris, accounting for 46 different species, of which 80% were normally found in coastal habitats. Quite a large percentage of the diversity that we found were coastal species and not the native pelagic, bad with words like that, open ocean species that we were largely expecting to find, Harum said. They did still find a lot of open ocean species, Harum added. On 2/3 of the debris, we found both communities together competing for space, but very likely interacting in other ways. There's some gooseneck barnacles on that bit of debris, fishing crate. Look like more. Oh, those are anemones. It's pretty cool. All right. Harum said that the consequences of the introduction of new species into the remote areas of the ocean are not yet fully understood. They're about to be. There's likely competition for space because space is at a premium in the open ocean. There's likely competition for food resources, but they may also be eating each other. It's hard to know exactly what's going on, but we have seen evidence of some of the coastal anemones eating open ocean species. So we know there is some predation going on between the two communities, she said. How exactly the creatures get to the open ocean and how they survive there remains unclear. Whether, for example, they were just hitching a ride on a piece of plastic that they attached themselves to by the coast, or whether they were able to colonize new objects once they were in the open ocean is unknown. Oceans of plastic. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch, which is twice the size of Texas. Twice the size of fucking Texas? That's huge! Is the largest accumulation of ocean plastic in the world. The patch is bounded by an enormous gyre, the biggest of 5 huge spinning circular currents in the world's oceans that pulls trash towards the center and trap it there, creating a garbage vortex. Oh, this is a fun article. It's a mistake to think of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch as an island of trash, though Matthias Eger, the head of environmental and social affairs at the Ocean Cleanup, a nonprofit developing technologies to rid the oceans of plastic, told CNN, "If you're out there, what you see is just pristine blue ocean," said Eger, who helped Haram's research by collecting the samples in the patch, fishing them out with a net. I keep flip-flopping between Haram and Haram. I don't know which it is. I guess we'll figure it out, right? Somebody will correct me eventually. You can think of it like the night sky. If you look up at night, you see all those white dots. That's essentially what you see in the garbage patch. It's not that dense, but there are a lot of them out there. You start seeing more and more plastic the longer you look, he said. The Ocean Cleanup Initiative estimates there are about 1.8 trillion pieces of plastic in the patch that weigh an estimated 80,000 tons. The majority of the plastic found in the patch comes from the fishing industry, while between 10% and 20% of the total volume can be traced back to the 2011 Japanese tsunami. According to the United Nations Environmental Program, UNEP, just more Marxism for the world produces around 460 million tons of plastic a year, a figure that, without urgent action, will triple by 2060. Globally, only around 9% of plastic waste is recycled, according to UNEP. As much as 22% of all plastic waste is mismanaged and ends up as litter, with large amounts eventually making it into the oceans. Scientists have warned there has been a rapid and unprecedented increase in ocean plastic pollution since 2005. The problem is getting bigger and bigger by the minute, Eger said. We see turtles that are entangled in ghost fishing nets. Sometimes it's even just turtle carcasses. We see ingestion of plastic fragments. Then there's also the pollutants and chemicals. I'm going to have a fun little video that segues in after I said turtles because, boy.
If turtles weren't so stupid, they wouldn't put straws in their noses. When I see a straw, I put it in my mouth. Straws don't belong there, but the turtles don't know why. So maybe they all deserve to die.
We can't save the world, folks. We've fucked it up to a point where the earth is kind of like a self-cleaning unit. It's why she's called Mother Earth for a reason. And if you can't take those two concepts and gather what I'm getting at, then I feel sorry for you. The Ocean Cleanup has built a huge trash collecting system, a U-shaped barrier with a net-like skirt that hangs below the surface of the water. It moves with the current and collects faster-moving plastics as they float by. We want to look into what's the impact on marine life. And once we know for sure that it's safe and it benefits the environment, then we want to scale up, Eger said. But cleanup is only part of the solution. A study published last month said that without urgent policy action, the rate at which plastics enter the ocean could increase by 2.6 times between now and 2040. The UN Environment Assembly passed a historic resolution last year to end plastic pollution and create the world's first global plastic pollution treaty by 2024, a legally binding agreement that would address the full life cycle of plastic from its production and design to its disposal. So, more Marxism. That is legally binding. Sure. Okay. Well, that was today's hot take, Rick take, as it were. Yeah, plastic is fucking up the ocean. No shit. Plastic is fucking everything up, apparently. I mean, there's particles, a little tiny plastic particle that they're detecting up in the mountains. So I can only imagine what it's like down here in the valleys. Well, if you liked what you saw, subscribe, like, share. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. I don't care. Hate watch it. Hate share it. And your friends may like and subscribe to my channel anyways. Pretty soon I'll be linking a Buy Me a Coffee link in the doobly-doo section in the bottom. If you're so inclined to donate, great. If not, I don't care. Like, I really don't. I'm doing this for the fun of it. But I would, appreciate a tip here and there. This does take a little bit of effort throughout my day. With that being said, peace out. And now for something on topic.
The Earth doesn't share our prejudice towards plastic. Plastic came out of the Earth. The Earth probably sees plastic as just another one of its children. Could be the only reason the Earth allowed us to be spawned from it in the first place. It wanted plastic for itself. Didn't know how to make it. Needed us. Could be the answer to our age-old philosophical question, why are we here? Plastic. Assholes. So, the plastic is here. Our job is done. We can be phased out now. And I think that's really started already, don't you? I mean, to be fair, the planet probably sees us as a mild threat, something to be dealt with. And I'm sure the planet will defend itself in the manner of a large organism, like a beehive or an ant colony can muster a defense. I'm sure the planet will think of something. What would you do if you were the planet trying to defend against this pesky, troublesome species? Let's see. What might... Viruses. Viruses might be good. They seem vulnerable to viruses. And viruses are tricky, always mutating and forming new strains whenever a vaccine is developed. Perhaps this first virus could be one that compromises the immune system of these creatures. Perhaps a human immunodeficiency virus, making them vulnerable to all sorts of other diseases and infections that might come along. And maybe it could be spread sexually, making them a little reluctant to engage in the act of reproduction. Well, that's a poetic note. And it's a start. And I can dream, can't I? Gotta worry about the little things. Bees, trees, whales, snails. I think we're part of a greater wisdom than we will ever understand. A higher order. Call it what you want. Know what I call it? The big electron. The big electron. Whoa. Whoa.